Hello, my dear students. Today's our presentation is about how to overcome language barriers. Nowadays, you can often come across such a thing as a language barrier, and probably each of us have faced this problem at least once in their life. In this presentation, I will talk to you about how to overcome a language barrier and start to communicate in a foreign language. And the main question is, what is a language barrier? Language barrier is difficulties that arise when communicating with people who are native speakers of other languages. And language barrier is a rather interesting phenomenon. You have been learning the language for several years. You know more than 1,000 words, or you know grammatical structures. You can write essays and translate text well, although communication with native speakers causes great difficulties. Beginners, people who have just started learning a language, most frequently face communication problems, and some people believe that they will be able to get rid of fear with time, but it doesn't happen this way. Sometimes people who can speak the language at a high level also encounter the problem of language barrier, while there are people who only take a few language lessons and they feel confident enough when they talking to other people. And it happens because there are two types of the language barrier. The first one is linguistic barrier. This type of language barrier appears because people don't know enough words and grammar to express their thoughts. In order to overcome this type of barrier, you should work really hard, continue to study, learn new words, do grammar exercise, try to speak a foreign language, and read book in it. The second type of barriers is psychological barrier. It's much harder to overcome psychological barriers because the main reason is the fear of making mistakes, not being able to understand your interlocutor, or seem stupid and not educated. At this point, there is a fear of the unknown, which is caused by a lack of self-confidence and doubt about your knowledge. And the main questions and the topic of our presentation, of our today's presentation, is how to overcome language barrier after all. The first one is, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Your interlocutors aren't going to check how well you can speak a foreign language. They're just interested in talking to you. Most people are positive towards foreigners who learn their native language, so they understand how difficult it is for you and will try to help you. Learn new words, saying them aloud. When you start learning new words, learn them aloud carefully, articulating each word. It's also a good idea to think of an example for each word and use it in a context so you can see how well you can use the word. If you still find it difficult, learn short dialogues. Human memory is based on association, therefore, the phrases from dialogues you have learned will pop up from your memory, and you will find it easier to express your ideas. Don't also forget that it's more than enough to have about 800 words in your lexicon in order to comfortably communicate. If you cannot remember a word, choose synonyms. Replace complex concepts with simple examples. Native speakers sometimes also lack words to express their thoughts. Ask your interlocutor to speak more slowly. If you are afraid of not being able to understand your interlocutor, ask them to talk to you more slowly, and ask them again if you missed something. Think about that. If you don't explain to your interlocutor that you don't understand them, they will not be able to guess about it and they will not be able to help you. And set the goal. In order to overcome the language barriers, set small communication goals and try to achieve them. For example, if you decide to go to a store abroad to buy something, focus on the task itself and not on how you perform. If you feel that you don't have enough words to explain to the seller what you want, start using gestures. Don't be afraid of making mistakes or stumble, as your main goal is to make a purchase. And always practice your language skills. It's a practice that matters. It helps you to be a success. Choose the activity which you like and watch movies, programs, listen to music in a foreign language. But remember that you may forget everything if you don't practice. Keep it simply and you will understand. If for the first time you have to speak with a live foreigner, try simplifying your speech. For example, in a restaurant, say simply tea, please. Don't complicate your life with long constructions. I would like, or could you please? A simple sentence will definitely understand, and it will give you confidence. To simplified speech doesn't sound rude. Don't forget to add polite words, please, and thank you. They're relevant in any conversation. In addition to simplifying the construction of the sentence, use more simple vocabulary. At first, don't try to use in conversation all the idioms and the slang expressions you know. First, you can get nervous and get confused in them. Secondly, some expressions may not be used in any territory or used in a slightly different meaning. Therefore, to all who are interested in how to overcome the language barrier, we recommend that you first speak as simply as possible. At the time, try to gradually complicate your speech. Add the words, build up sentences, and in this case, your speaking skill will develop steadily and without psychological trauma. Of course, we all want from the very first English classes to speak quickly without thinking about the words. However, in reality, it turns out differently. The transition from the native language to the target does not come too easily. Be prepared for the fact that at first you will speak slowly, make pauses, take long words. No need to force yourself to force the the speed will come as a result of practice. At first, focus on competent speech, not quick. Speak slowly, but build sentences correctly. Find the right words. In this case, your speech will be accurately understood, but speed doesn't contribute to understanding. And the last one, I would like to say that somewhat strange but important recommendations for you students. Allow yourself to get rid of perfectionism. Remember how in childhood you learned to write the letters of the Kazakh, maybe Russian language or any language. Someone wrote them in mirror image. Someone forgot to draw loops or tails. Someone wrote so crookedly that the teachers remembered a joke about a chicken paw with a smile. And despite all these failures, as a result, we have learned how to write in our native language and quite tolerably and some even legible. In the same way, you will go through the process of communication in English. First you will make mistakes, but the more you practice speaking, the sooner you get rid of them. So don't be afraid of accidentally losing the article. Native speakers will forgive you for this mistake. After all, you are not an ambulance doctor or an airport dispatcher yet. So your mistake will not have disastrous consequences. Okay, I hope that this presentation was so interesting for you, was so informative and useful. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye. Hello, my dear students. Today's our presentation is about how to overcome language barriers. Nowadays, you can often come across such a thing as a language barrier, and probably each of us have face this problem at least once in their life. In this presentation, I will talk to you about how to overcome a language barrier and start to communicate in a foreign language. And the main question is, what is a language barrier? Language barrier is difficulties that arise when communicating with people who are native speakers of other languages. And language barrier is a rather interesting phenomenon. You have been